Hello, hello, hello. So today in Pussy Touch, we are going to be spring cleaning on the topic of self-love. That could be anything that you want to make it out to be. It could be self-love of you as a person. It could be body love, whatever feels right to you. It's so important for women to love themselves, so that way they can love others more fully and attract people that will value and love them in return. And to get that kind of love, you got to go within. You do. And so when you're spring cleaning, it's about acknowledging all those unspoken things, all those emotions, um, that perhaps have been repressed or buried or just not voiced in like a safe container. And you acknowledge them, and just like real spring cleaning, like you take them out to the trash through acknowledgement. The other person, which would be me, or like if you're spring cleaning by yourself, it would be like goddess. They hold space for you. And just like when you take the trash out and the garbage man comes, like they take it, you never see it again, right? And so with spring cleaning, like if you do spring clean with like a friend or a partner or something, just make sure you all have an understanding that what happens in the clean stays in the clean and goes out when the clean container is closed. And it is fair game. You can say whatever you want. So in the case of self-love, a lot of people that are struggling with self-love probably have a lot of self-hatred they need to acknowledge, right? I know that's at least been the case for me. I've had a ton of self-hatred and self-loathing to acknowledge, which actually will bring us into our next clean. I want to do a spring clean in the series on the topic of narcissism, which narcissism has to do with extreme self-hatred. So, anyways, spring clean, sometimes you might find that you say the same thing several times because things are layered. That's perfectly fine. Um, for example, it's like, thank you. What do you have on self love? I loathe myself. Thank you. What do you have on self love? I loathe myself. Thank you. What do you have on self love? I loathe myself. Thank you. What do you have on self love? I loathe my body. Thank you. What do you have on self love? I loathe my body. And you see, like, you get through one layer of saying the same thing over and over, and then you get into the next layer. And the good thing is, you're acknowledging this, you're getting it out. This is a safe container. No one's going to shame you or judge you for what you say. So get it out in this container while you can, or in a container with someone that you trust to do a clean with. You might also find that your mind is not used to you engaging with it in this way. And so you might find that you don't know what to say. So you can say, I have nothing. And so I'd be like, thank you. What do you have on self love? I have nothing. Thank you. What do you have on self love? I have nothing. Thank you. What do you have on self love? I wish I ate better. Thank you. What do you have on self love? And so usually if you say a couple I have nothings, it'll move the energy to where you can get to the next part. And if it doesn't, just go ahead and go back to the last thing you said and kind of ask yourself, like, why did I say that? What does it mean to me? How did I come to that? And usually once you ask a few questions, you'll like jog the mind to go into the next thing on the clean. Also, with a clean, you want to keep things short and concise. Do not go into stories all in one swoop. You want to break the stories up into like digestible little pieces. Um, like a surgeon going into surgery, you don't go in and take out a huge chunk. You go in and you do bit by bit. You do the incision, you insert the instruments, you use cameras, you go in little by little, then you like do whatever you're doing, then you come out and then you stitch it up, right? So same thing with like a spring clean. So for example, something not to do would be like, thank you. What do you have on self-love? Oh my God, I ate way too much cake the other day and now I feel like I'm gonna die, and like I've been trying to lose this weight like for years and I just hate how I look in the mirror. That's a story. Break it up. That way you can get it out more cleanly. So to break it up, you'd be like, thank you. What do you have on self-love? I ate this cake the other day and I instantly felt fat. Thank you. What do you have on self-love? I have been trying to lose 10 pounds for like a year. Thank you. What do you have on self love? I don't like how I look in the mirror, especially after I eat this cake. So you like break it up. And then if you need more time in the videos, feel free to pause them. I will do my best to keep a poker face throughout the video. It's best to have a poker face just so that way the other person feels safe and doesn't feel like you're judging them. And it's really important when you're doing space holding to just be able, if you're doing this with someone else, to be able to attune to that person and know if they need a smile, if they need a poker face. Only do the reassuring smile or something if it's someone you really are comfortable with, because someone else might interpret it the wrong way. We don't know people's childhood backgrounds and attachment styles and how they might interpret things. What else? What else? You can interrupt a person if they're going too long, like they're telling a story. You can be like, I'm going to pause this spring clean and just ask you to kind of tidy up the clean and narrow this story down. And then I'm going to start it again. Is that okay with you? And then they'll be like, okay, sure. So you do that. And then also, like, at the end when the timer goes off, like you'll be like, this is like your first of 3 pulls. What do you have on blank? And that just tells the subconscious, like, oh, it's time to wrap it up. Like, I need to get the last step out. Usually the pulls kind of, I find, are where like the really good stuff is that you need to acknowledge. And they kind of come out like you're popping out a pimple, like you're trying to get to the bottom of it, right? You can spring clean on a topic as many times as you would like. Sometimes less is more, and sometimes it's really good to do a bunch at once and then take time off and then go back into it. My husband and I did a spring clean on surrender for a month where we did 5 days a week, 2 days off for an entire month. And it has helped us be so surrendered in so many situations in life. It's amazing. And I'm so glad we did that clean, because even though we didn't like doing the clean in the moment, like we're having so much stuff like in our life where we're benefiting from how much we have surrendered through the power of acknowledgement and spring cleaning. Sometimes with spring cleans, you might find you get emotional in the middle or towards the end, especially when you acknowledge something that you haven't acknowledged in a long time. Basically, it's just you gave voice to something, and that voice is expressing through tears or anger or rage, and that's fine. Be nice to yourself, practice self care if that happens. And then you can always go into a swamping video, which I will link underneath or at the end of the video, so that way you can click on it and do a swamp of your own after understanding what a swamp is, which swamping is basically the body's way of metabolizing the emotions that have been addressed through the mental emotional practice that spring cleaning is. It makes it like threefold in a way. What else? What else? You don't want to spring clean longer than 15 minutes, because then you kind of just get stuck back in the cycle. I find that for people spring cleaning for the first time, 3 minutes and 3 pulls tends to be good. However, the juicier cleans that seem to get even more accomplished are about 5 to 7 minutes, seem to work really nice, but just play with it. And just because we're going to do 3 minutes and 3 pulls here doesn't mean you have to do that in your regular cleans. Like sometimes my husband and I will do 5 minutes of 2 pulls. Sometimes if I'm speed cleaning, which is where I'm doing a bunch back to back because I gave myself like a chunk of time to do them, I'll just do 1 minute and 1 pull. Spring cleaning is going into the past and acknowledging things. So just acknowledge whatever it is. Don't judge yourself. And then you want to come back into the present. So you're going to close with a trinity, which is a brag, a gratitude, and a desire. When you're bragging, you're celebrating something in life. Like so many women, as Mama Gena says, are taught to relate through victimization instead of celebration. So you want to brag, you want to celebrate, you want to learn how to relate through celebrating. Like the days of being a victim to what it is to be a woman are over. It's time to rise and shine. Let us all brag. And then gratitude. We all know gratitude. Like what are the things you're grateful for? And then a desire. You'll speak your desires into existence. And the concept is kind of like physics. Like when I think it's when a photon is witnessed, then it turns to matter. So when you are being witnessed with the sound you are speaking into the universe with your desires, it makes way for it to be turned into matter. So there's no desire too big or too small. So yeah, I think that is everything as far as housekeeping. And then with self-love, like self-love is a process. You can be so intentional with your self-love. You can even tell yourself like, hey, I'm going to put an input of self-love into my energy field today by doing a spring clean on self-love. And like where energy is focused, energy goes. So if you're intentionally focusing on self-love, the self-love will build, it will dissolve, it will move stuff out that is not aligned with self-love, right? You could also just like have a self-love practice where you dedicate 10 minutes to like an hour of a day, just like in prayer, meditating, self-pleasuring, dancing, being in nature. And just say to yourself, like, I set the intention. This time is intentionally spent putting love into myself through doing things that help me get closer to loving myself, or doing things that I love doing as myself, or whatever. My self-love journey has been quite a process, and yeah, I'm still learning how to love myself more fully and more deeply every day. Lately, I've been on a self-respect kick and learning to respect myself more. But there for a while, I did like 40 days of like a self-love practice to really pull me through some of my heaviest times. Um, and now it's like I'm getting so content and in love with myself that I just really feel unshakable and like unfuckable with, in the sense that like you can spew venom at me, you can like tell me I'm crazy, you can call me whatever you want, but it doesn't really matter because I'm so secure in myself at this point that like that stuff doesn't affect me anymore. And that's the thing. Self-love is a flex. And the more you get that flex on, like the more like your life begins to just like improve and go in a direction that actually is more aligned with like what you and your pussy desire, right? Like my pussy never desired to work at a halfway house filled with people doing time for some horrible crimes. Um However, it was needed for me to go there so that I could recognize I didn't need to be there. So that way I could let my pussy lead me into doing the things I love and working in a way that I love, which is through creating content and writing and dancing and creating and supporting and elevating people and spending time doing shadow work with myself and nurturing my marriage. Like that is aligned with who I am. Being at a job that is all about patriarchy and like toxic masculinity is like, no, that's like self-hatred for me in my journey. And yeah, so anyways, I hope this helps you. You can say anything you want to say. You can say I hate myself. I've had to say I hate myself so many times to myself, and I'll probably even do it today. Because like that's the thing, like a lot of women do hate themselves. A lot of women are taught on an unconscious and conscious level that they are unlovable, they are inferior. This is taught through like politics, this is taught through religion, this is taught through our upbringing, this is taught with like the workload women take on, this is taught by like women being boss babes and hustling. Um, like, yeah, all of this, like, it teaches us that like we're not worthy of love. It teaches us that like we're not worthy of receiving pleasure. It teaches us to feel guilty if we like love ourselves or seek pleasure. um and so yeah, hopefully the spring clean can really help you come into yourself with more love. And yeah, I think today actually, I don't know, I'm like, I was gonna do 3 minutes and three pulls, but I feel like 4 minutes and two pulls is a more suitable number today. So okay, I am going to go ahead and start the clean with myself so that way you understand what it's like to spring clean by yourself, which is me demonstrating for you, but I'm demonstrating with you spring cleaning by myself. And if you're spring cleaning by yourself and you're worried about your desires manifesting, like you are an expression of love. You were created as an expression of love through God and Goddess, creator and creatures of all that is, which are like nothing but love. So they created us and they're witnessing us at all times. So even if you don't have a lot of people to witness you in your journey, just trust that you are always being witnessed. Okay. All right. So we're gonna do 4 minutes and two pulls on self-love. Let me get my clock up. Okay. All right. So just pay attention. And then when you do your clean, go ahead and pause if you need to pause. If I don't give you enough time, it's kind of hard to time it when you're not in front of me. All right. Sister Goddess Poppy, are you ready to begin your spring clean on self-love for a total of 4 minutes and two pulls? Yes. Starting timer. Thank you. What do you have on self-love? I have a lot of self-hatred. Thank you. What do you have on self-love? I hate myself. Thank you. What do you have on self-love? I'm fat. Thank you. What do you have on self-love? I jiggle too much. Thank you. What do you have on self-love? I hate my double chin. Thank you. What do you have on self-love? I have a really deep rejection and abandonment wound. Thank you. What do you have on self-love? Ever since I was a child, my family has given me the message that I am unlovable. Thank you. What do you have on self-love? To this day, both my mother and my father have given me this message that I am unlovable. Thank you. What do you have on self-love? My grandmother raised me and she loved me to the best of her abilities. Thank you. What do you have on self-love? However, she and the women of my family all have a lot of like self-hatred. Thank you. What do you have on self-love? I have inherited their self-hatred. Thank you. What do you have on self-love? I have an inferiority complex. Thank you. What do you have on self-love? I have a superiority complex. Thank you. What do you have on self-love? I hate admitting that I have displayed narcissistic tendencies in the past. Thank you. What do you have on self-love? It makes me sad that I've been so mean to myself over the years. Thank you. What do you have on self-love? I bully myself all the time. Thank you. What do you have on self-love? I bully myself all the time because I got bullied a lot in middle school. Thank you. What do you have on self-love? But if I'm being real with myself, I got bullied in middle school because I had already started bullying myself on an internal level. Thank you. What do you have on self-love? I have allowed myself to settle for less than treatment pretty much the entirety of my life. Thank you. What do you have on self-love? However, I'm tired of settling for less than treatment. I deserve more. Thank you. What do you have on self-love? I'm grateful for Mother Earth and the plant kingdom teaching me what it is to be loved unconditionally. Thank you. What do you have on self-love? Plants really create the means for me to slow down and go easy on myself as I'm reminded to take care of their needs. I'm reminded to take care of my needs. Thank you. What do you have on self-love? I have a fear that if I'm not working and making money, that my husband is going to leave me. Thank you. What do you have on self-love? I have guilt when I do the things that I love because I'm not bringing in sustainable income at this time. Thank you. What do you have on self-love? It sucks being a woman. Thank you. What do you have on self-love? It sucks being a woman. Thank you. What do you have on self-love? I hate that I'm a woman. Thank you. What do you have on self-love? So many religious like lessons or so many religious scriptures like shame women for being women. And I hate being a woman because it makes me feel unlovable. Thank you. What do you have on self-love? I wish I had more friends that were women. Thank you. What do you have on self-love? However, I don't really trust women because I feel like they're so quick to sabotage each other in the name of their patriarchal programs. Thank you. What do you have on self-love? I have a lot of sadness. Thank you. What do you have on self-love? I have a lot of sadness. Thank you. What do you have on self-love? I have been in a lot of toxic relationships. Thank you. What do you have on self-love? And I have been ashamed at how I have allowed myself to be degraded. Thank you. What do you have on self-love? However, I realize this is a reflection of how I felt about myself on the inside, and that makes me want to be more compassionate to myself. Thank you. What do you have on self-love? My inner child and children have taught me to be nicer to myself. Thank you. What do you have on self-love? Being a woman is my superpower. Thank you. This is your first of two polls. What do you have on self-love? I wish I could turn back time and not be so mean to myself. Thank you. This is your second and final poll. What do you have on self-love? I hate how mean I've been to my husband in the past when I was in self-denial and not admitting that I lacked self-love. Thank you. This concludes your spring clean on self-love. It has been an honor and a pleasure to hold space for you. Would you like to close with a trinity? Yes, I brag that I have filled my self-love tank so much in the last year. I brag that I catch myself when I'm bullying myself and I'm able to turn the conversation around. I brag that I've managed to reach a compromise with my inner critic to where they have agreed to become my inner cheerleader. And I am grateful for the unconditional love and support that I receive from Mother Earth. I am grateful for the love and support I receive from the women in my life here and now. I'm grateful for my husband holding space for me to love myself. And I desire that I continue to love myself. I desire that in loving myself, I empower other women to love themselves. I desire to be more loving to my husband. I desire for my husband to turn up his self love flex so it's easier for me to give him the love that I know he seeks, that he still needs to look within and see where he is in self denial about that. And I desire that all of my plants when we move don't die in the car. um, well bagged, beautiful gratitude, and so it shall be, or something even better and better than your wildest dreams. Woo! So that is a spring clean one-on-one. Hopefully that was helpful. And now let me go ahead and set a timer for you for 4 minutes and 2 pulls. All right, Sister Goddess, are you ready to begin your spring clean on self-love for 4 minutes and 2 pulls? I'm gonna hear you saying yes. Thank you. Timer is starting. What do you have on self-love? Thank you. 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 This is your first of two polls. What do you have on self-love? Thank you. This is your second poll and final poll. What do you have on self-love? Thank you. This concludes your spring clean on self-love. It has been an honor and a pleasure to hold space for you. Would you like to close with the Trinity? I'll hear you saying yes. What do you brag? So you'll say, I brag. Well, brag. What is your gratitude? Beautiful gratitude. And what do you desire? So you'll say, I desire, and just say whatever you desire. So it shall be, or something even better and wetter than your wildest dreams. Well done. Good job doing a spring clean on self love today. Look at you loving yourself and showing up today to do this kind of inner work so you can be in your goddess vibes and empowered. Um, Go ahead and use this video as many times as you'd like. And if you don't want to use the video, just spring clean with yourself or someone you trust. And if you feel you could use more work on self love, maybe like give yourself like a 3 day, 7 day challenge and spring clean for 3 days on self love or 7 days on self love and see what shifts you observe in your external reality as you do the internal work that spring cleaning is. Thank you so much for watching. Be well. Aho.